Okay, we are on page Samar Dalet, the bottom of the page, discussing the word from the Megala Amukus that Tisha and Nisan are but biur chametz. Nisan is chametz gashmi and Tisha is chametz ruach. But then he talks about a different point. That Nisan is the biur of Maila Lamato, it's also the Leila, and Tisha is the Lamato. It's also the Sat. So we ensure Maschas of Gases Ruach, which is 9 lines from the bottom. Derech Klan Nika Yitzorah Chametz, Meshikosov Mikaf Me'avel Chametz. The Gemara says that Yitzorah has a few names, and one of them is Chametz. It says in Pasuk Mikaf Me'avel Chametz. So Memela is Azor Bio Yitzorah, but Pasuk Minol. So when it says in Pasuk Tashbis Asem Batechem means bio Yitzorah. By the zero, lastly is Dir Melech Malach HaKadosh Baruch. Like you mentioned earlier, that in order to make a dir for the king, in order to make a dwelling place for the king, you need both first clean out the house from all the lichluch, tinuf, and later you have to bring in kelim noim, beautiful furniture. So similarly here, that the bio because you remove the tinuf. Mitzvahs matzah, he a klila giluze. Kanoi de bini matzah zoshon oich, Hashem shnigo alei melech malach HaKadosh Baruch Hu gol. Mitzvahs matzah, that's the mitzvah says. That's like making the beautiful furniture. Hina aveda zetachtenu kol hashana. Truth is, our aveda during the year, Knesset Kafi V'Sapa became a mitzvah. Gam gavonazu. It's also in that goal to his coffee and his sapcha, to the kavan is lies dira loy. So it should be a dira that's loy for deal HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The nitzava HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the dira b'tachtanu tzarich lias dira roya. Mishkos b'likater the masril li b'toven b'yak. So the concept of bio etzor, the mitzvah leises, mitzvah says, and more importantly in our case, the mitzvah leises, the destruction of etzor, that is something that happens a whole year. So throughout the year, this idea, this concept is a result. We achieved the creation of the dira through the Avodas Adam. Avodas Adam, the book and the exertion, and the hard work of the post of Adam, Avodas Adam, people, our own Avodah. 5 Chodesh Tishrei, it's more specifically, more emphasized the Chodesh Tishrei, because what's the point of Tishrei? Shigam im pogam chas v'sholem. Chodesh Tishrei is a month. His purpose was gam im pogam chas v'sholem. Even though a person failed, made a blemish, nasa bio al idei tshuva. So how do you remove the chemetz, that it's a hard tshuva mumka deliver. To do the tshuva from the bottom of the heart, least nice over very pesha. To that, the Eibishter forgives the avodas. Calls them and matter. So the entire year in general, and especially in Tisha, is the avodah with the matter. Even Nisan, or mitzvah the chametz dachal matter. Mashenken Nisan, the way it happens, Nisan is the matter. The Eibishter tells us a mitzvah to burn the chametz, just follows instruction, that automatically destroys the chametz. Right? No. So that is the general difference between Tisha and Nisan. Them keeper ממשיכים גם כן בכנסת כניסת סבוק, משקוס מקמח. So what he's bringing in a point. According to what he said earlier, the Milo, that is so we only read the madriga of shaykh loylamas, shaykh Allah's man, like mecher. We earn it. Mashenken milmara lamata, that is matan. That is according to that, teaches a lower level. That he adds in the parentheses that in tshuva also has a certain level of tshuva. But in Kippur, we also reach the very high madriga of Pinisas and Sof, which usually comes from Aaron. That's the Chagah. Yeah, now now we're going to answer the question we asked in the beginning of the Maimer. The Maimer got from the Gemara point, halachic concept that ma'avrin is a shana, ma'avrin is a chodesh. Let's say we add the Chachamim, the Bezdin, the Sanhedrin have the power to add a month to the year, add other sheni in order, let's say, order to achieve the so should be Shamar Chodesh Aviv. So Pesach should come out Bizman Aviv, the spring. Tkufas Nisan. So in order for Tkufas Pesach should come out Tkufas Nisan, they add another month. If you realize that Idalit Nisan will still be in the winter, be no more spring, not spring yet. So we add another month. That's the concept of Iyar Hashanah. But they may have a chodesh. But we can also say, let's add another day to the month of Adar instead of 29 days, should have 30 days. And that will also happen in a particular situation that adding one day will make Pesach Chodesh Aviv. So the halacha is, that's what you said about in the beginning of the Maimer, that's the halacha. Now we'll understand the inner, the pnimis, the chassidish pshat in this concept. In a Ibo Shana, so he's explaining what? What was the question? What?
You never make Chodesh order 30 days?
No, Chodesh Nisan is always one day. Chodesh Nisan is always one day, but we're not talking an hour. That's a fact, but we're not talking in now. We follow the calendar, but in the days of Kachim Al Pi Ha'Riyos, the Bezdin had the power to add a day to the Chodesh, to add a month to the year. So the only reason you're adding a day to the Chodesh then was because the Eidim didn't come in time. The Kiddush HaChodesh. But Mashenkin Ivo Shan is L'Tzeres. In order to make sure the Chodesh HaAviv, the Aviv, the Pesach should be in the Aviv, we add a month. So the Gemara says, Ma'avrin is a Shan L'Tzeres, Ve'in Ma'avrin is a Chodesh L'Tzeres. We can't add a day to Chodesh Adar. Okay, the Payil Mamesh, like I said, the way the Allah is set up, Chodesh Nisan is always one day. But maybe it's related, but that's not the point. The point here we're discussing the situation the way it was before the law, when everything was done, let's say manually. I'll go upon him. So you're explaining what's the meaning of it of Chassidus. The Ibo Shano Kashe'ena Seira Aviv. Like I just said. What is the reason that we add another month to the year? So he says the Lashon Sa'ira, because remember in the Seif Parshas Va'era, talks about the Makas Borod, says Pishta V'Sa'ira Kasera Aviv, because at that point the Sa'ira was already Aviv means it's a description the way the barley reaches a certain state of what's the word, that it's ready, that it's ripe, a certain state of ripeness. So Sa'ira Aviv. So that's the lashon in pasuk in the end pasuk for Eir. But in the get, like I just said, to be Chodesh Aviv, means that it's a sign of the cycle of the tvud, where it reaches the ripeness. That's what aviv means. So mele, why? Like I just said, why over ma'avar the shana? Because we realized that the aviv, the spring didn't arrive yet. What is the spring here? How do we measure the spring? You look at the barley. If the barley is not ripe yet, and it didn't reach the level of ripeness, that it's called aviv. So we end of the year. What does it mean out in Pnimius Inyan? You know the Inyan tzmichas hatvor, the tzmichas hatvor in Allah's man. The concept of the growth of the grain, that itself is how that's a mashal and maybe more than a mashal. That represents the idea of Allah's man, that things grow from the bottom. Like you put a seed in the ground and it turns into grain. That's Allah. That's called Allah milmata l'mayla. Ba'ezeo iba shana b'rdei she'iyeh Allah's man ketikuna l'amshach hamshachas mat. So the concept of iba shana l'tzerach aviv means, what does it mean in spiritual terms, in pnimius inyanim? That he add a month to make sure that the Allah's man, which means the tzmichas hatvur, the growth of the grain, is complete. So b'meila, in other words, the Allah's man is b'shleimus in order to get the hamshachas mad, the b'ayim tchurim. In other words, the b'ayim nukvin, the Allah milmata l'mayla should be should reach the proper level. So that will be a keli for Allah's hamshachas mad. V'zeu v'alkein ma'avin is hashana. So that's well. So that now he explains it in the terms we just explained earlier. So what is the inyan of shana? Shana is the shana starts Shana Tisha. That's the avodas milmata l'mayla. Ma'avan shana shupnesa oyashap. We say the start of shashem alos man. The avodas shana means that we set up the oyashap, which is connected to Allah's man, in order for the tvur to reach its proper ripe level of ripeness. That is the concept. The tisha, the shana l'shonim, because the shana, the concept of shana represents the avodah milmata l'mayla, the avodah of Allah's man. Even the highest level you reach in tisha is all milmata l'mayla. So that's the concept. So in other words, the physical pshat, the simple pshat in halacha is ma'abris hashana l'tzerach. Then other should be aviv yet another month. But the ruchnistic pshat means that you add another month, which means you strengthen the avodah milmata l'mayla, the shana, in order that the aviv should the Allah, the tzmichas hatvur, the growth of the grain should reach its proper level of ripeness, and that should be in a proper state, so it could be makabel the hamshachim l'mayla.
What does it mean? The tzmichas hatvur is Allah's man.
So I just said before that the concept of tzmichas hatvur, how does tzmichas hatvur work? You put a grain in the ground and it grows, milmata l'mayla. So that's why the tzmicha generally, tzmichas hatvur represents is like a mashal, or more than a mashal, the inyan of Allah, the inyan of Allah's man. That's the you're growing up. The kernel that you put in the ground grows up. Milmata l'mayla. So the tzmichas hatvur means milmata l'mayla until it reaches aviv, which means it's ripe. So it's a keli to be makabel the hashpah milmayla. Yeah, we have to keep in mind. It's like we eat. It's the mashal. There's a mashal and there's a nimshal. Tzmichas hatvur is just a concept that represents, in our case, the idea of milmayla l'mata. The idea of avodah milmata, like tvur grows from the bottom up. That's why the Indian of Tisha Roshana Lashonim. This is the Indian of Avodah Milamata Lamayla. It's also the Sat. Agam, so there is a question. Agam the Shona Ishnas Achama Pchinas Zo. There's a problem here. Shona, the year is measured by the cycle of the sun. The month is connected to the moon. The year is the sun. What is a year really? A year is a full cycle of the seasons of the sun. The sun in the winter, the sun is more north, and the cycle. There's a certain the cycle of the seasons is related to the sun. That's the we learned just earlier. That the sun represents the milmaila lamata, zo, and the moon is the mata lamaila. So how can we say that shana, that shana represents avodah milmata lamaila? The shana is connected to zo. So that's the question he's asking here. The answer is the zo b'machas middle gvul the seder shtashit. It's takad amshacha milmaila, but it's such amshacha that it's measured according to the mekablim. Like we said earlier, kav. Zo is kav. Kav is amshacha. It's takad milmaila lamata, but it's not mekablim. So it's similar to the concept of milmata lamaila. The difference is that what is it? It starts to the avodah milmata, and what do you reach? You only reach the amshacha, which is middle gvul seder shtashit. About chodesh, what is the concept of chodesh? Chodesh means ichud shimsho v'tzira. Chodesh is not just the sun on its own. What happens in the month? The month measures where the sun and the moon meet, which really is a mashal, and a modern mashal. It expresses, like we said earlier, at the beginning, top page number Dalet. Moil delavona means ichud shimsho v'tzira, shpor pnimis v'atzmis. That is ashpor pnimis v'atzmis, not ashpor lepsi erech ha'elames, but ashpor pnimis v'atzmis. The ze inet toli be'emes ba'alas man kimpnes matana kanal. Like we said earlier, that there's a law, there's a way that comes to alas man. The amshach comes to alas man to avodah. That is limited. It's like Mesa. You only reach that level where you take a smoke. Mashenken, the Indian of amshach of nimis va'atzmis, it's matan. It's milmaila. We are not a kelit. We cannot demand it. We cannot earn it. It comes milmaila. So this is the amshach of nimis va'atzmis. So chodesh hazeh lachem. Okay, this is the remes in the Chazal say, ein ma'aben is a chodesh. No, because Ibo means, and the point is, in other words, it's chodesh l'tzeirach. You can't change around the chodesh l'tzeirach at Tvua, because Tvua is milmata l'mayla. Chodesh is something that's milmata l'mayla. So you can't add another day, because the concept of chodesh means the gil milmayla, which is not told in Allah's man. You really can't say that in order for this tzeilah to reach its perfection, you add another day to the chodesh, because chodesh is a hatchila milmayla. That's one point. And then there's another Chazal we learned right in the beginning of the Mayim. Yet another Chazal. We learned from chodesh hazeh lachem. Kiven shegia nissen ein ma'aben l'sashana. That when can we add another month to the year? Only we are still in Adar. Still in chodesh Adar, in Chavtes Adar. Then the Bezen can say we made a cheshbon that we must add another month. What happens when the chodesh Nisan comes already? The moon was already seen. So we learned at the beginning of the Mayim. Then Nisan be'inach Nisan. At this point, we cannot add a month because Nisan came already. So this is, he said, now explaining it topic Chassidus, according to the point we just made. כיוון שהגיע ניסן, אין עשה שנה גם כזה, כשהגיע ניסן, אין שפנים שהגיע מלמד, אז גיל לדעת מסוים סוף שמעלה מסוים של צד, ולא זמן, וזה עושים מעבר. Because we already reached the level of Nisan. We just said earlier, Nisan represents the same concept of Gila Milmayla Lamata. The Gila Fachet Amitis Shem Avaya. So when that we reach that level, we cannot take into account the Aviv and the Tvua anymore. We are already in the level of Amshach Milmayla Lamata. The Allah's man is not Tefes Mokum anymore. That's one way to explain this. So, okay, so we explained this Tuch Mamar Chazal. Number one, why Ein Ma'aber is a Chodesh of Tzarech, and also why even Shigia Nissen Ein Ma'aber is a Shon. So that's the 2 points he made. Now, but he has another question. Gam Ken Yesh Loimar? Then we can say another way to explain it. The Mamshach Tzarech Matana Agam Shein Shem Alas Man because I'm Tzarech Yitzrilim with it. Again, you just said earlier in the top page Samach Dalet. Ain't a name Matan Tail. It's Matano above social tate, but in order to reach it, we do need that the Makabel should be oil, should be a keli. Like I gave the marshal. You give a present, the Gemara says, you love the Neichel and Nafshal. That's not Lashon Gemara, but see this brings such a Lashon. Concept is that the Matana also shows that there is some connection of the Neis Matana and the Makabel Matana. It means the Makabel Matana is in a certain state that he can get the Matana. So what is it? That's what he said earlier. When get that's why it's another format to have, and that we had CS Mitzrayim as a hunt. Now it says a similar. He uses this concept to explain our Mama Chazal. The what? The Babshach is Matona Gam Shein Shem Alas Man. It's like a no loss man, but you have to be in a state of ruin. Zeu Shema Abrin. We add another month to the year. We had Chodesh Adar Kshe'ein Asera Ovid. In order the Sa'ira should be in a state of Ovid. Like I said earlier, it should be right. Now he brings another remez. Neither the Ovid or Milmayla. Like I said earlier, the difference between Tisha and Nisan. Nisan is Milmayla, it's Aleph base. Aleph comes before base. That's Milmayla. Hashem can Tisha, Tov Shin Reish, it's backwards. Milmayla. So Ovid means so it is a different remez. The first remez was that Smichas Atvur is the last man. So it basically he finds another. Now he's looking at it differently. Until now, he bases his entire pshat on the idea that Biba Hashan is a lost man, that Smichas Atvur is a lost man, and Ovid means when the tzvur reaches a certain ripeness, it means the lost man reaches a certain the proper state. That's how I explained it in the first pshat. Now Gamish Lamanai says a different pshat. But Oviv means faket. Oviv means Milmayla Lamata. So Oviv means you reach that's Gila Milmayla. So the Ibor Chodesh, the fact we add another month is that's the Achana, like we said earlier. Just like this Mitzrayim, Zachanat Matan Torah. So now it should be the Papa Ashana to the Aviv. Aviv really means Milmayla Lamata. For that, we Ibor Ashana. Zesh Ma'am Adu Shana say, oh, no, the Aviv Medachon. I don't know. Zeh Ma'abim Gavli Yisroel. Ava Kishgian Nissen. Shekvan Nimshach Ein Tzarech La'aba. So that's another explanation to that blessed halacha that the minute the Chodesh Nissen arrive, you can't add a month. Why? Because we're already in the. It's like saying. Matan Torah is here already. There's no need for Yitzias Mitzrayim anymore. There's no need for that Chana. You reached it already. So the minute Nisan comes, you're already in the state of Aviv. So there's no point of adding a month. It's another remez. Then Nisan ve'ein achar Nisan. So that's what the Chazal say in Gemara. We got in the beginning of the mind. Chodesh hazeh lochem zen Nisan ve'ein achar Nisan. That the minute you see the moon of Chodesh Nisan, you can't say, hey, that's other, the next month is going to be Nisan. Because then Nisan ve'ein achar Nisan. We can't add another month, given Shigia Nisan. So what's the Pshat? Okay, see this? Given again is noch shall Geula, since the month of Geula already arrived, Giluf and the Tamit is Shema Etz and Shema Vayt. Giluf Ma'amat, Ein Ma'amat Hashana. So you don't need any more for Iva Hashana. There's no need to prepare yourself because you reach it already. That's another remez, and then it brings another remez. Lam do zeh mitevas hazeh. Where does the Gemara learn this concept that zeh nis veinach anis? And the fact that it says in Pasuk HaChodesh hazeh lachem. Amar alagili. The word zeh itself is also merames and the same concept of gilim el ma'ila lamad. Why? The Gemara says, "Kanoi deminian Moshe nisnaba bezeh." The Gemara says, "Kol hanavim nisnaba b'choy, Moshe nisnaba bezeh." Moshe said zeh hadavar. So the Gemara says, "What does zeh mean?" It's a speklaria meira. V'hainu gila erek Moshe be'etz. So zeh, the word zeh itself signifies this concept of gilim el ma'ila lamad, the gila etzem. So from that we learn zeh nisn ve'in acha nisn. We cannot anymore be ma'abel because we already left that realm of avodah milmata l'maylo and achana. We're already in the madriga of zeh. Now he goes to another part of the pasuk, and he gives not to what we learned till now. So that's Marumas, and also what it says in pasuk. It's another question he asked in the beginning. It says, so what is this repetition? What does it mean? So now he brings a remez. What is Reish Chadashim? The inner Pardes Evit Shuvas Ravai Goen in Pardes the Ramak brings from Shuvas Ravai Goen. They need to give him with the Sarach. There's a famous question: what is it given with the Sarach? Why is it 13 meters? It says in Sefer Yitzira, Esa Spheres, Lima, Esa V'Loi Teisha, Esa V'Loi Chadas. The number is 10. How do we get to number 13? Says Ravai Goen, should Esa Spheres give a Rosh and Lerosh. That the additional 3 remez of Rosh and Lerosh, the head to the head. Beheim Prince Tzachtzachets. And the way the Ravai Goen uses the term tzachtzachis. Tzachtzachis means mitzvah. It's very clean and not modern clean. It's clear, very clear. It's a higher level of clarity. So v'yadua. So it says it's moving. It says of Chassidus. What does this Gimel Rosh mean? Gimel Rosh. שזה פרינס עשר ספירס הגנוז מהצילון, שאין עשר ספירס דעתיק, פרינס פנימיוס הכסף. So Rosh the Gimel Rosh is Maramis. Okay, the number Gimel is not explaining here, but the concept of Rosh is Maramis and Madriga of Esas Spheres Agnus is above. There's a sphere is the Esas Spheres that Silus, and there's the Esas Spheres Agnus, the way the Esas Spheres are hidden and hidden above Atzilus. Pnimis HaKesef. Yes, do the Pnimis HaKesef. Zel l'mayla get the Makalish Tashus. V'ayno giluf Pnimis HaChodesh Pnimis Yichet Shem Shavasir. So Mele he says that the remes in the word Rosh Chodoshim is Marames. That's a Rosh. That's above Ishtarshalos, above spheres. Pnimis HaKesef.
Why are they Gimel?
So he doesn't explain you why it's Gimel. We had a mimer, remember, Tevkel Chavar Chamecha and Samachei. Over there was an explanation why it's Gimel. I don't remember now. Okay, I'll look it up. Okay. V'ayno gila p'nis HaChodesh p'nis Yichud Shem Shavasir, the Iko b'Chodesh Nit, Chodesh Shegula, the Hashem Havai Boy Kesidon. He brings what he brought earlier in the mimer, that in the Madrega of Nisan, it's Shem Havai Kesidon, Chodesh Shegula, v'zein Rosh Chodosh, and it's Rosh L'Rosh. So again, so the word Rosh Chodoshim is a remez of the concept of Rosh Rosh, what it says in Shuvas Ravai Goen. זהו שמדיע עצם עניין דרך חידש לישון פרס ריש, פרס גימל רושן לרושן, והגיל הזה הוא לכם. Okay, period. So that's one point. Now, one second, let me look up.
So the exospheres are called Roshin because this is Roshin, lo Roshin.
Yeah. I think the word Gimel means, no, I don't forget now how it starts 3. It's 3 madrigas in the above spheres. I'm looking now also in the Maimon in Omet Kuf Tzadik Tes, there's a Hanocha from the Maimon. It also doesn't explain why it's 3. We just said S sphere is the At. Yeah, it says also that it's just Klimis Akesef. It's a little different. Okay. Then it says next.
Why are they?
Why
the exospheres called? The exospheres are called Roshin. The Gimel are Roshin, le Roshin.
Okay, I'm sorry, I don't know the answer right now. I'll look it up. I'll next time we'll not find it. I'll explain. Okay. Then it says, and what says next after so Reish Chadoshim Hu, then Rishon Hu Lachem. Lachem. So then the next says Ragilu Hu Lachem Dafka. This madrega for Rishon Hu Lachem is Nizgal Dafka Neshamas Yisod. Shalem Dafka Gil Knesat Yisod. So that we took care of the okay, I'm just Agam Shem Rishon Lachem, Zavam Shach Berish Nis Mechalach Hadoshim. So the Nisan has 2 parts to it. There's a Rishon L'Kol HaChadoshim, where it's a part of all the other Chadoshim, but also it's Rishon above. Agilu Lachem Dafka Shem Yisrael, Shdavka Agilu Pnes Atzon So. זה אחרי שזה לכם, פרס גיל העצמיס, סבא חושזני נמשך עד יותר, אבל כן הצטבה בזה ראשון, בזה ראשון. אחר יציאס מצרים, והוא ראש החדושים, פרס גיל ראשון לראשון. אבל כן, כיוון שהגיע ניסן מעברי, that explains also what the question earlier. Then is vein achanissen. Shnim shagil mel mail vagil lachem daf. So that's how I explain the pasuk hachodesh hazel lachem reish chadashim rishon lachem l'chad shashana. That there's the gilui of Chodesh Nisan, the gil of Shem Havai K'may Shehu. That's the mile of Matan Torah over the Bria Soilam and the Avos, the mile that happened in Matan Torah b'yachas to the Avos, b'yachas to Bria Soilam, the gil of Shem Havai, which is the gil of again it goes all the time. Gil Atzmis then so. That's the Amshach of Torah, and that's expressed in the pasuk Chodesh Hazel Lachem with all the details that we just spoke. All right, we'll go to the next time. I'll find that Gimel Rosh. Okay, we'll go to the next time. Matzah Zushanechem Al Shema Shishleistik Tzekh Shavit Sein Lach Mitzachni Lach 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 Shanema Vayechnes Abasek Hashem Tzimitzayim Ugas Matzah It's Kilei Chometz Kigoy Hashem Mitzayim. So that's a shtickle from the Haggadah. This is a Maimah of Pesach, Chag Pesach. So it's in the Haggadah we say, why do we eat the matzah? Because it says that the dough of our Seinu, of our forefathers, when they left Mitzrayim, the dough didn't rise. The pasuk says, "Kigoyshim Mitzrayim." That's what we say in the Haggadah. Okay, and move on. So then there's this famous question. The reason we eat matzah is because the Eibusha said when he said, "Shayakom Pesach Necho in matzah." The mitzvah was to eat the Pesach, Korban Pesach, the spov with mar and matzah. And that was before they left Mitzrayim. They koydem chatzos. When it's taval them basa b'chodesh. And that mitzvah was said earlier. Ba'asar b'chodesh. That's also one of this. Okay. Actually, that's the lashon in the Torah also. I think the times of Ba'asar b'chodesh means in the parsha of Ba'asar b'chodesh. It says Ba'asar b'chodesh hazeh v'yikolem ish sel v'sov v'sel habayis. Then it says the mitzvah. So the tzivah, I think, was not ba'asar. The tzivah was earlier. So the lashon in the Torah also is instead of me ba'asar l'chodesh. I don't think it means the 10th, because the 10th, that's the beginning of the tzivah. And then it says over there, shmartem es hamatzis, shetzrichim shimu mechimot. So there's two issues here. Number one, how do you say that the reason we eat matzahs? Because it was before the tzivah was given, before the whole thing happened. Number two, in the tzivah it says shlishma mechimot. You say the reason we eat the chametz is because the matzah lo yispik lachmitz. So is the shmira lo yispik? So you already. So really, why laistik la'achmitz? Because there was a v'nigla aleim hakadosh baruch hu v'goshim mitzrayim v'lo yoch istik la'achmitz. Eich hanu imrim al matzah zu shana ishnim kedim chatzois she'al shem chayvus achilas mitzvahs achilas matzah v'zman kedim chatzois.
We're saying al matzah samroim yichlu before they left that already the mitzvah al matzah samroim yichlu.
Yeah, the first, of course. It says ba'achlas abasa ba'ila hazeh tzliyesh u'matzit tzliyesh what is the word? Al matzah samroim yichlu. That's the lashon in pasuk there. So l'chayr there was matzah already before chatzos. Ve'echan ha'ayom matzah shenoichim kedim chatzos. She'i al shem, I don't know what al shem means here. She'al shem chayvas achilas mitzvah chasmatzah zman kedim chatzos. So basically, he's asking a question. When we eat matzah today, it's really a continuation of the same mitzvah that the Eibusha told the Eden to eat before they left Mitzrayim, before Chatzos. He told them to eat the Pesach chametz matzah. I'm sorry, with matzah tamroim. And that was the beginning of the mitzvah of Pesach, and then we follow every year, do the same thing that they did that night. So how can we say that the reason we eat matzah shall speak what happened the day after Chatzos? So it doesn't fit. Somebody must say that there's like a difference between the matzah we eat now and the matzah we ate then. It is Mitzrayim matzah kedim chatzos right in that tzivah levad. So when they ate matzah the first time, when they marked the Pesach the first time, that was just because the Eibusha said that's tzivah. Then the next step was there was a gila chatzi alayla. Lo yispik lachmitz. So you see what he's saying here. He's like saying, see, the simple pshat in pasuk is the reason there's not time for it to rise, but he brings in already the chiddush pshat, the more pnimit interpretation, that because HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't allow the chimutz. He already takes into account the more pnimit meaning of chimutz. Chimutz means, like I said, we just finished in the Ma'amar before. Chaymetz, which is that it's a lo yispik, because it's such a gilim in my law, lo yispik that didn't allow the chametz to happen. He just mixes the pshat and the chassidus together. Al Kaponim, so he says that's the difference. The B'tzias Mitzrayim achilas matzah kedim chatzos me'atziva v'gila derin sof b'chatzos ayla was lo yispik lachas. But what happens now? Achilas matzah the kedim chatzos, even we eat the matzah before chatzos, he can't So basically, what he's after this whole discussion, the maskana is the simple understanding would have been that the reason we eat matzah now is similar to the way Eden ate matzah the first night with Yitzias Mitzrayim. But that's the the intuitive way. But it's the chiddush of what we say in the Nagod, matzah. Our eating matzah is not like the eating matzah of the Eden the first time they came out. They ate matzah, then they ate because they told them to eat. But now we have a higher level. We in our matzah we have the mile of the matzah shel achar chatzos, the gilui. Means the higher level to the matzah we eat now has the mile of the matzah shel achar chatzos. That's the point we made. So that's what it says in Kisvei Arizal. The miyad v'leil Pesach me'yirin k'chazkat Saba. That the level it says in Kisvei Arizal P'yetz Chaim, that what happens leil Pesach when the night of Pesach arrives in the beginning not Chatzos, right in the beginning of the night, me'ir gadlus Abba. There's the gilui of that madrega, the likus, which is called gadlus Abba. In Abba means Chochma, not stam Chochma, gadlus Abba. The higher level, the greatness of Chacham. Shazel inyan ahalal gomo shana ema ba'avis al shema gilad and sobo. That's also the reason why we say halal gomo. We say the full halal, not chatzi halal, full halal, the night of Pesach, because that, according to Kisvei Arizal, that expresses the gilui likus, which is now by us before. Right in the beginning of the night of Pesach, so first it said the matzah that it just brings from the Arizal the gilui of the Ein Sof that, but then they experience la'achar chatzos. We already have this experience now, right in the beginning of the night of Pesach. That is the point he brought from the Arizal. But we have to understand. Why do we eat matzah now? We have to medayik to eat before chatzos. Why the chatzos? The matzah is al shem shleisik la'achmitz. Again, so it's like it's not a question that's it's like a real question. Just trying to understand the inner meaning. Why is it that there's a deal in halacha we must eat the matzah kaidem chatzos? All right, since the matzah that we eat now reflects the gilui that was la'achar chatzos after Nigla Alei Melech HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So why do we eat the matzah dafka kaidem chatzos? You have to understand what is the message, what is the inner explanation. More importantly, according to what we just explained, we need to really understand what is the meaning of achilas matzah. Why is there achilas matzah? He says there should be a shiur b'chal achilas matzah. Should be a reshus. Shem sham matzah shtachar chatzos reshus. The ma'aser poel now in our world, there's a mitzvah to eat the matzah. The Leil Pesach, the mitzvah is still chatzos. After chatzos, until the end of Pesach, there's no mitzvah to eat matzah. It's a reshus. If you're hungry, you have to eat matzah. You don't have to eat it. Like it says in Gemara, Kamaima, ma shvir reshus kach shisha reshus. Because it says in pasuk, one pasuk says Shivas Yomim Teichel Matzos. One pasuk says Shivas Yomim Teichel Matzos. The Gemara says Mashvir Rishus, Kashish Rishus. Rishus means it's not something you have to, it's a shiur in you. It's something that you could do, but you don't have to do it. Why? And what's the explanation? Again, is mixing right away the Chassidish understanding of this concept. What is it? The chayva and rishus. Chayva means that you by nature will do one thing, then you're told that you have an obligation to do something else. So the concept of obligation is a result of a tzivui, that you go against your nature and you follow a rule. What is a rishus? A rishus means something you have the right to do what you want, but you automatically do the right thing because you don't have to be told to do the right thing. It's a rishus. So this is already. So B'meili says because we're in a state of lo yispik la'achmitz, you don't have to tell you not to eat chametz. Lo yispik la'achmitz. We're on a higher level. B'meili is not shiur of achilas matzah. It's a rishus. He brings in this concept of siddur, which is we're already a step further. So B'meili says not only. So, the first part of the question was we should eat the matzah after chatzos like they had then after chatzos. Now he says not more than that. There shouldn't be a shiur achilas matzah because since now we al shem shalei yispik la'achmitz, since now we already after the state that lo yispik la'achmitz al shem shalei yispik la'achmitz, which means there's no need for a tzivui, there's no need for a command. You shouldn't eat chametz. Lo yispik, the chametz, it doesn't rise. Obviously, we talk beruchnis. So Meile, we don't need what do we need a mitzvah of achilas matzah now? That should be all rishus. So that's what he says it. She'ein zimpol rein because it should say mashal yispik la'achmitz she'ein zimpol adam can say gilul l'maylo. That's Chassidus explains why it's a rishus because it's gilul l'maylo. Matzah the goyim chatzos a chayva shop she'amatzah adam ois adei hashimah mechimutz. The matzah, which is a chayva, it's a shimon mechim. It's an act that the person does. It prevent with his own effort prevents the chimutz. It's shamer. He watches the chametz shouldn't the dove shouldn't rise. But we're already in a stage al shem shalei yispik. Why does the b'chol mitzvah? The bemes gam achshav chayvas mitzvah lechal matzah b'leil al kenim chatzos daf. B'vada gam achshav matzah shekenim chatzos tzarich shimon. So we have to understand the inner meaning of this. So Meili says, what do we derive from all the discussions? We have to come to the conclusion. So really, the matzah we eat now before chatzos has two parts to it, two aspects. We have that aspect that resembles the matzah shekoidem chatzos before Matan Torah. That's why it needs a shmartem. That's why we need shmir mechimutz, which means the avodah of yigiyah, the avodah of yigiyah preventing the chametz. That's why there's a chayva. The gam, and also has another aspect, the matzah we eat before chatzos, mashal yispik la'achmitz, like we say in God, the matzah shon shal yispik la'achmitz. We must say that our matzah we eat kaidem chatzos contains both sides, both aspects, the aspect of shmir and the aspect of shalei yispik la'achmitz. So what out of these things will gam ech shneim yachad? How can they be the two opposites of the same matzah? So that we summarize the question. So to understand all this better, we have to really first introduce the understanding what is the inner meaning, what is the Chassidish understanding and meaning of Chag HaPesach. The Ineksiv V'amartem Zevach Pesach Hu Hashem. What does the pasuk say in Parashat Boy? V'amartem Zevach Pesach Hu Hashem Asher Pesach Uksiv Pesach Havai Al Pesach. That it's a Zevach the Eibishter skipped. Mashma the Iker in Chag HaPesach in the Psicha V'Adiluk. So the concept of Pesach represents the union of Diluk and skipping and jumping over. That's a that.